Hi, this is the Alchemist Astrologer, and this is the February Inside Out reading for Pisces Sun, Pisces Moon, and Pisces Rising. So what are your conscious desires? These would be the known intentions. It's what you're actively pursuing, what you're openly telling yourself, and what you may be telling others about why you're doing what you're doing. You have the Devil, Death, and Dream. So for some of you, it could be that you're focused on some extra responsibilities, obligations, burdens that may tie to the past. Maybe there's some unhealthy habits, chronic habits, unhealthy behaviors or attachments. Now, for some of you, maybe this ties to sexuality. For others of you, you're dealing with some burdens and responsibilities connected to shared resources or working through crisis-oriented situations that tie to the past, some kind of psychological issue. And for some of you, there could be something unrealistic about a certain situation. You're hoping to either end it or renew it. And your survival instincts have kicked in. There's a strong will to survive something. And so there's the possibility for you to get to the other side of something that has been long-standing, something chronic, something negative. Again, it may tie to the past, could tie to an ex, could tie to some kind of delay that you are experiencing. But this is also a period where you can have great influence. It's almost as if you have a silver tongue. You're able to say the right thing, be in the right place, and almost manipulate others. And that may be okay as long as you're doing it in a positive way. But it's also a time where you may need to be careful about falling prey to temptation or something petty for personal gain. So this is a restrictive kind of energy. Again, you could be hoping to end, revitalize, repair, improve, or renew a situation tied to negativity, fear, pessimism, delays, responsibilities, being a parent, dealing with parents, time delays, illness. And so there's a need to gain mastery over that so that you can improve a situation emotionally, psychologically, or financially. Now, what are your unconscious desires? You may not be aware of those because they are hidden even to self. And these could be desires that are motivated by something deep inside and from a long time ago. Could be other lives, could be suppressed memories, painful experiences, emotions you haven't dealt with adequately that are still influencing your behavior without you even realizing it. And it's possible that these two desires are working in tandem, but very often they work at odds with one another. And the truth is, the unconscious desire can be the real motivation behind your actions in spite of what you're openly projecting. You have Ten of Pentacles, Dead End reversed, and Adventure. So there's a situation where you are seeking some new horizons. It may tie to the past, but also has a bearing into the long-distance future. It may tie to wealth, investments, family, retirement, anything that has a bearing, as far as security for the long term. For some of you, you may be dealing with marital conflict. You could be dealing with business issues, estrangement from family, dealing with rebellious children, a host of issues that are problematic. that you really want to address, because this dead in reverse says you want something to open up for you, some kind of, wherever you've been going in circles or trying to find resolution and have been unable to, you want that doorway to open for you. You want something to be resolved. So this could be about pushing some kind of boundary, some kind of change, or you're hoping for a new perspective, either in yourself or involvement with others. And you may be willing to take on more responsibility, go above and beyond in order to support your loved ones or to invest in your long-term security. But what is it that you actually need in addition to these desires, or in spite of these desires? What do you need from a situation? You have the King of Wands. So for some of you, there may be a need to connect to a fire sign person. It could be an Aries, a Leo, a Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising, male or female. Or perhaps you are taking on the traits of this king. And this is a king who is very magnetic, very powerful. He knows what he wants. He's not afraid to go after it. So you may be taking on those traits, or you may be dealing with someone who's very decisive, someone you're very attracted to, and who can easily attract people that are interested in him. Now the problem is, his interest can be fleeting, and he can be very good at looking out just for himself. He may not be altogether faithful. It just depends on how his passion runs. He can be, if that is his desire. Whatever it is, there's a need for you to take charge of a situation, possibly tied to some burdens, responsibilities, delays, obligations that tie to the past, where you're hoping that you can unlock a door, find a solution, or create an opportunity that has been previously closed. So you're trying to take charge of a situation that once again ties to family. Family has an influence on you, your relationship. This could be a person in your family. This could be a fire sign who is in your family. Or maybe you need to take charge of a family situation that pertains to some kind of invitation. Now maybe this is a family reunion, or perhaps this is some kind of gathering that involves family, something celebratory. Maybe you need to invite a family member, within your situation. Maybe you need to bring someone closer to you, or someone is making that overture to you. Now, the positive influence would be the emotions, circumstances, people, conditions that are assisting you and contributing to a positive outcome. You have the Hermit. So for some of you, there's a tie to a Virgo person, but for others of you, this is about taking a time out to examine something, to listen carefully, objectively, philosophically, to gain some enlightenment. Maybe you're doing some research. Maybe the positive influence has to do with something that you're working on, a project, or perhaps it's something spiritual or education. Whatever it is, you're taking a closer look and you're observing. You're looking at yourself, you're looking at other people, and you're looking at a situation in realistic terms. And the ability to do that is going to allow you to be rational and make good decisions for yourself in spite of what others may be saying to you. You're able to see whether they are truthful. So this is about taking a step back to examine your conscience, or to take some time out if you need some mental, physical, or emotional space to gather yourself and to have a sense of well-being. You may be dealing with information. You may be dealing with paperwork, or you may be involved in teaching, educating, writing, research, or advising on some level. It could be a spiritual level. So you're looking at something. You're either gaining some enlightenment, or you're shedding light on a circumstance for someone else. And it may tie to issues where someone has felt rejected, left out, abandoned, or something has not been reciprocated. So there's an opportunity to examine these negative feelings that may be tied to the past. It may have something to do with closed opportunities or family, where there's a need to take charge of a situation, to invite a circumstance that would bring about some kind of stability. Now, in the interim, you may have to listen and observe, and that will serve you well, rather than involving yourself in a confrontation where one of you is going to have to lose. There are some lessons involved, and the positive influence is humility, learning, who knows what. Maybe you don't know everything you think you know, or maybe you can offer something to someone who thinks that they know more. So this is about whether you should reject or open yourself up to an opportunity, do some research on it, look at issues surrounding rejection within the family, responsibilities, whether you should release some of your burdens or whether you should take on more responsibility. Now, the negative influence would be the people, the issues, the obstacles, and conditions that are impacting your situation adversely. It's creating a limiting influence. You have the Five of Pentacles. So for some of you, there's been an issue of poverty or a lack mentality. Maybe somebody's been left out in the cold, or there's a lack of spiritual evolvement or understanding. Could be there's too much focus on the material and a lack of spirituality, a lack of faith in self, a circumstance, a situation, another person. So a couple of things probably haven't gone your way. There's been some setbacks, could be financial, emotionally. Something is eroding your confidence about a situation. Maybe you're dealing with ill health or financial worries or stress of some sort. But this says you need to do some research, and it may tie to age, health, experience, wisdom. You may need to look at taking better care of yourself, giving yourself something to look forward to, buoying your spirits or that of others. You may be dealing with people, mentoring people who are on the fringes of society, who need some kind of help emotionally, physically, mentally. And you're looking for some kind of perhaps solution. Now, maybe someone is homeless, or maybe they're looking for an invitation from the family where there's been a closed door, or perhaps you're maintaining some emotional balance about putting someone out of their home, or having to sell your home, or not having enough money to run your home, or perhaps, something is wrong with your heating system. Maybe, it's affecting your health or your finances. You're trying to remain emotionally balanced about a situation that you'd like to see improve. Maybe you want a happier home life, or maybe you want your own property, or maybe you're dealing with issues where there's a lack of faith in a situation connected to domestic affairs. So you're trying to maintain your emotional balance. The negative influence, though, is this lack of faith and this lack spiritually, emotionally, financially. But there is help available. You may take a second look at a circumstance. You may need to research something where you experience some form of rejection, or you rejected an opportunity. And when you take a closer look, you may discover that you're not as bad off, or something is not as costly as you thought. Now, what's at the heart of your situation? What's at the crux, the root of your circumstances? You have the Page of Swords. This is trying to find some kind of answer. For some of you, there's a connection to an air sign person: Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising, male or female. Could be a younger person. Could be somebody who is rebellious, rude, arrogant, sarcastic, or you may have those traits. But also, you're trying to find solutions. And if you're using the Hermit in a positive way, that means you're being dispassionate about those solutions. You may be in mediation, negotiation, arbitration. You may be mediating between others, and you're trying to come up with a rational solution without injecting too much emotion into it. The problem is, if it affects you personally, you won't be able to maintain that stance. It could be that somebody is prying into your affairs. Maybe, somebody's been under surveillance of some sort. So there's a need to get some kind of answer. But this also says that you need to set smaller, more realistic goals. Especially if you've lost faith in a situation, perhaps you need to do more research to see whether it's a viable opportunity, whether you've been taking on too many responsibilities or engaging in some chronic negative behaviors where you want the door to open. So you're trying to find answers about an engagement. Now, maybe this is an engagement to get married, but it's more likely to be some kind of promise, unless you're trying to find a ring. But this is more likely to be trying to find answers connected to a promise, an agreement, a proposal, an offer of some sort. And that offer could be an invitation that you're extending to a family member. And it's also about expression. There's an offer to express yourself in some way. Could be creative. Again, maybe you're teaching, maybe you're educating, maybe you're writing, you're researching. You're trying to find the best way to express yourself, or perhaps you're having difficulty with some kind of an agreement because of the way you're communicating. Either of you, again, may have some sharp words. You may find yourself in confrontation or arguing. So the way you're expressing yourself has a bearing on whether you can reach an agreement or whether someone accepts an offer. But again, the focus is finding a solution. Now, what is the call to action? You have engagement. So you have this doubly emphasized, engagement. Your love life is ascending to a higher level of commitment. So for some of you, it could be you want to end something with the past because maybe you want to start a family, or you want to get involved with someone else. Maybe this is something from a long time ago. You're thinking about purchasing a home, or perhaps, how you can build a family, grow a family. In other cases, maybe this is a project that you're working on. And either way, something is ascending to a higher level of commitment. So you may be taking on more responsibility, and it may tie to a family. You're looking at perhaps where you've been alone or isolated, and whether that was necessary with regard to your responsibilities. It's also saying open mind, heart, and mouth. So you may need to do all three, or at least one of those. You need to open your mind to possibilities, perhaps open your heart to someone, and open your mouth to speak your truth. All right, Pisces, now that you know what's at the heart of your situation for February, head over to Vimeo to find out what you can change, what you can't, how it's all likely to turn out. I want to thank you for sharing your time and space. Please be sure to like and subscribe. If you're interested in purchasing any of the Love Indie decks featured in this reading, the link is down below.